Friends, we can all see that many white bloggers have millions of followers. Please support me too, because my followers are still few. Black bloggers also deserve to be famous. Raise fist medium dark skin tone. My friends, let's unite and lift each other up. Please press subscribe button and like. In the heart of Phoenix, Arizona, Dorian Price had envisioned a peaceful life when he moved into his new home. He imagined mornings filled with coffee on the patio, weekends spent grilling with family, and afternoons where his nephews could run freely in the yard. But instead, his backyard became the epicenter of an unexpected conflict, one that would challenge his sense of safety and dignity. The source of frustration was Colin Dresner, a patrol officer for the Homeowners Association, HOA. Colin had developed an unsettling habit of treating Dorian's backyard as a shortcut, hopping over the fence without a second thought. At first, Dorian dismissed it as an accident, but after witnessing Colin's brazen trespassing multiple times, he realized this was no mere oversight. One Saturday afternoon, while grilling, Dorian caught Colin in the act. "Hey, is there a problem?" he called out, but Colin merely smirked, adjusted his belt, and walked away, leaving Dorian feeling disrespected and powerless. The more he heard from neighbors like Janine Morales and Henry Cho, the more his anger simmered. They shared their own stories of Colin's disregard for boundaries, and Dorian felt the weight of their collective frustration. After yet another trespass, Dorian confronted Colin directly. "You can't keep doing this. This is my property," he shouted from his porch. Colin's response was cold and dismissive. "I'm authorized to patrol the community. Don't get in the way." Dorian's fists clenched in frustration. He knew this wouldn't end without action. That night, over dinner with his sister Renee, Dorian vented his frustrations. "I bought this house thinking it would be safe, but how is it safe when some guy keeps hopping my fence?" he lamented. Renee's expression turned serious. "You can't let this go on, Dor. What kind of message does that send to the boys?" Her words struck a chord, igniting a fire within him. Determined to take action, Dorian contacted the HOA, but the complaints were met with indifference. "Our officers of discretion," the president, Leonard Briggs, told him. "If you have a problem, put it in writing." Dorian felt the helplessness wash over him. He had already tried that route, and it had led nowhere. As summer rolled in, Colin's trespassing escalated. Dorian decided to take a stand. He began documenting each incident, sending emails to the HOA, and even attending community meetings to voice his concerns. But each time, he was met with the same dismissive attitude. The tension in the neighborhood grew palpable, and Dorian felt increasingly isolated. Then came the day that would change everything. Dorian was in his backyard with his nephews, enjoying a sunny Saturday afternoon, when Colin vaulted over the fence, landing in the middle of their game. The boys froze, fear etched on their faces. "What the hell are you doing?" Dorian shouted, his heart racing. Colin shrugged it off, claiming he was just doing his job. Dorian's patience snapped. "You don't walk into a man's backyard without permission." That confrontation marked a turning point. Dorian realized he could no longer rely on the HOA to protect his rights. He needed to take matters into his own hands. After researching legal options, he decided to install a low-voltage electric deterrent on his fence, something harmless but effective enough to send a message. The day he mounted the deterrent, Dorian felt a sense of empowerment. He attached a warning sign, ensuring that anyone attempting to climb the fence would be forewarned. When Colin inevitably returned, Dorian was ready. He watched from his porch as Colin approached the fence, and when he touched the electric strip, the shock sent him tumbling backward into the grass. Dorian stood firm, his voice steady. "That gate's private property. You were warned." Colin's face flushed with humiliation, and as he stormed off, Dorian felt a wave of relief wash over him. For the first time, he had taken control of the situation. But the victory was short-lived. The HOA received complaints about Dorian's deterrent, labeling it a violation of community guidelines. Dorian was summoned to a meeting where he faced the board, armed with evidence of Colin's repeated trespassing. The tension in the room was thick as he presented video footage of Colin climbing the fence, smoking in his yard, and disregarding the very rules he was supposed to enforce as the footage played. Gasps filled the room. Dorian's neighbors began to rally behind him, voicing their own frustrations about Colin's behavior. For the first time, the power dynamic shifted. Colin's authority was being challenged, and Dorian felt to support his community. In the aftermath of the meeting, Colin was suspended from his duties, and the HOA began revising its patrol guidelines. Dorian felt a sense of vindication, not just for himself, but for everyone who had endured Colin's arrogance. The neighborhood began to change. People who had once whispered their frustrations now spoke openly about the importance of boundaries and respect. As Dorian sat on his porch one evening, watching his nephews play in the yard, he felt a profound sense of peace. The fence that had once symbolized conflict now stood as a testament to resilience and community. He had learned that standing firm in the face of adversity was not just about protecting one's property. It was about teaching others to value their own boundaries. But just as Dorian began to relax, he noticed Colin's patrol truck creeping down the street again. The tension in the air thickened as Colin stepped out, his expression unreadable. Dorian's heart raced. He knew this confrontation was far from over. "Dorian," Colin called, his voice dripping with disdain. "We need to talk." Dorian squared his shoulders, ready for whatever Colin had planned. "About what? Your continued trespassing? Or your blatant disregard for my property?" Colin stepped closer, a smirk playing on his lips. "You think you've won? You've only made things worse for yourself." Dorian felt a surge of anger. "You're the one who crossed the line, Colin. You think you can intimidate me? You're mistaken." Colin's eyes narrowed, and the tension crackled between them. "You have no idea who you're dealing with." Just then, a group of neighbors emerged from their homes, drawn by the escalating confrontation. Dorian felt a surge of support as they gathered around, their eyes fixed on the two men. "Leave him alone, Colin!" Janine shouted from the crowd. "You've been a menace to this community for too long." Dorian's heart swelled with gratitude. This was the moment he had been waiting for, a united front against Colin's arrogance. But Colin wasn't backing down. "You think this is over? You'll regret this, Dorian. I won't let you humiliate me without consequences." As Colin turned to leave, Dorian knew this was just the beginning. The battle for respect and dignity was far from over, and he was ready to fight for what was right. And just as the tension reached its peak, Dorian felt a sense of determination wash over him. He would not let Colin's threats intimidate him. He would stand firm, not just for himself, but for everyone who had been affected by Colin's arrogance. The stage was set for a showdown that would determine the fate of their community, and Dorian was prepared to face whatever came next. Dear listeners, did you enjoy today's story? If you are interested in the fate of our heroes, we will definitely prepare the next parts. Subscribe, because your attention and feedback are our greatest source of inspiration.